Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Free Bridge Podcast. This is our weekly wrestling segment, and I finally got some video. So I got my man over here, Joe DellaMonica, over here in Staten Island. I traveled over here, and as you can see, he is quite the wrestling fan. This is his little bachelor pad, if you will, right?
Yep.
We got what do we got looking at right now? What are these belts?
Let's see. We got the World Heavyweight Championship.
Uh-huh.
NWA, WCW, WWF.
Uh-huh.
We have the WWF Circle Eagle World Championship. We have the Undisputed Championship. And we have the Intercontinental Championship.
Now, the Intercontinental Championship, right, special, it's signed by a certain individual.
All the belts actually have some autographs on them, but the Intercontinental title is signed by the GOAT, Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho is the greatest of all time. I fucking love that guy. I've been loving him since I was a little kid.
One of the best. I'm sure we're going to talk about him shortly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we are going to talk about that. So we have actually a lot of information that we're going to discuss on this segment here. We're going to talk about, all the current events that are happening in wrestling today. We're going to talk about SummerSlam. We're going to talk about huge announcements that were made this week on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown.
Evolution continues to be a mystery.
Okay, so let's start off. Since we already mentioned his name, let's start off with the GOAT, Chris Jericho. There's a lot of news going on with Chris Jericho. He's been in a lot of tweets and social media, and there's a lot of buzz going around. Starting off with, let's say, the Jericho Cruise.
The rock and roll Chris Jericho Cruise.
Yeah. So, what exactly is the cruise again?
Well, from what I've read, I was gonna get tickets, but they was just a little expensive for my taste. But it sounds like it's gonna be a great event. It's a bunch of rock and roll bands. It's a bunch of wrestling. It's got, all you would want to see in one show, and it's gonna last like 5 days. It sounds like a great time. They already booked, inter promotional matches involving Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling and a bunch of other indie promotions are going to be wrestling on there.
Uh-huh.
Chris Jericho's teaming with the Young Bucks. It's going to be great from what it sounds like. I don't think there's going to be any footage of it either. I think it's strictly just for the people on the boat. So a lot of people are going to miss out on stuff like that, but it sounds great.
So the news that I read earlier was that Chris Jericho, he's going to have, they have the Young Bucks now, like New Japan and everything, but he went over to Vince McMahon and Triple H, and he asked them, hey, listen, I'd really like some NXT guys to be on the cruise, so we can put on a nice show. It's his business, Chris Jericho's using his own money on this, and he's asking for the WWE's help, and they said, no, we're not going to fucking give you that.
They're like, no, we're not going to do that.
You can kiss my ass, Chris Jericho. You're fired. So he's not, they didn't help him out, and Chris Jericho went to New Japan, and he went to R.O.H. Now he's got those guys coming on. Mm-hmm. I think that's rubbing Vince McMahon the wrong way a little.
I guess it must be a little bit, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I said, if there's no commercial release of it, if there's no video footage, if it's not making money, in the United States off it, then I don't think he's necessarily stepping on Vince's toes. Then, you know what I mean?
There was another thing that Chris Jericho is doing. Apparently, Vince McMahon's not happy with the fact that he's having matches and he has the title.
Yeah.
He said, you know what? I want to do a thing with Kenny Omega in New Japan, and I want to have that match because he's one of the best wrestlers, and I want to wrestle with some of the best. Mm-hmm. Vince McMahon said, absolutely, you can. He asked for his good graces, and he said, you got him. So now he went out there, had the match, but he's having matches now with other people, and he's winning titles, and apparently Vince McMahon's not happy about that.
Well, I mean, I can't blame Vince. Chris Jericho, he's a big guy, but he's not under contract. He's free to do whatever he wants. And like I said, I think it comes down to Vince McMahon lives and works inside a bubble, and it's that WWE, WWF bubble, and he doesn't necessarily knows what go on outside that bubble, I feel like. And again, as long as Chris Jericho isn't wrestling for anybody making money in America, which is within Vince McMahon's bubble, then I don't really see a problem with that. Although, I think Jericho will come back. If Vince says, Jericho, we need you on Raw, I think Jericho will be on Raw. So I think it just works both ways. You know what I mean? I feel like he's got to have the right to do what he wants outside WWF. He's not under contract. But when Vince comes calling, as long as WWE is first priority, I don't think he should have too big of a problem with it.
I mean, I agree with that. Chris Jericho, he is doing what he can to make sure he is not disrespecting Vince McMahon at all costs. But He also, I don't think he can help himself because of the buzz that's going on right now
Yeah.
with other promotions, and it's getting kind of interesting
Yeah.
to say
Well,
the
Jericho's
least.
Jericho's known to troll the fans a bit, So
Yeah,
for him to say him just name dropping Impact Wrestling, I think that's more worth a laugh than it is to be taken seriously. At least that's my opinion. But you never say never. Who knows? I know Impact's in Canada now, so maybe that's like I said, that might count outside the bubble. So who knows?
yeah,
Maybe he ends up in Impact because it's in Canada. Who knows? I doubt it though.
I mean, he's been doing interviews too.
Can they afford Chris Jericho? That's another whole other issue.
Well, I like that he has the Alpha Club. He's
Yeah.
calling himself the Alpha Club versus the Bullet Club
Yep.
on his cruise.
Yeah, with the Young Bucks joining the Alpha Club for the time being. But again, that's outside storylines. That's international waters doesn't count, I guess, in the real world.
So now we're gonna move. Like this is a good segue into what's going on in ROH in New Japan right now with that MSG thing. So
Huge.
there's a lot of controversy that I've been reading about, and I mean it goes essentially like this. Sinclair, he said to MSG like, you know what, we'd like to book an event here, and MSG's like, absolutely, we can. Now that's crazy because MSG doesn't book wrestling promotions with any other companies besides WWE.
Yeah, not in like 60 years or some weird
some
number.
shit.
Yeah.
Amazing. So that's crazy in itself. But Vince McMahon, he said, no, don't do that.
With the kibosh on it.
Yeah, you're pissing me off. Don't do that. This is our thing. MSG was like, all right, cool. So they told Sinclair and ROH, sorry, we can't do that. But then Sinclair's like, are you fucking kidding me? You know what? We're going to file a lawsuit then because you guys already agreed that we're allowed to go to this. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that MSG was ready to take a lawsuit for Vince McMahon. He's like, no, we're not.
Right. Long story short, they're booked at Madison Square Garden the day before WrestleMania.
Oh man, that's gonna be a crazy weekend, man.
Obviously I'm a big wrestling fan. That messed up my plans. I live here in New York. I was gonna go to WrestleMania, do the whole weekend, and now it's like I'm going to that MSG event for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously what Vince McMahon WWE didn't want to hear or doesn't want to happen, but it is what it is. That's a memorable show, just like the All In event. It's going to sell out immediately. I feel like I think it doesn't even matter what's booked. It's going to sell out.
Yeah.
People just want to be there and want to experience history in wrestling. And it's crazy that we're creating wrestling history and it doesn't involve WWE. That's a long time coming in itself. I feel like.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be interesting to say the least. That's going to be a crazy time to be here, like wrestling fans. This is like wrestling fan, like heaven.
Yeah.
It's just wrestling everywhere, and it's going to be at the. It's going to be I'm sure they're going to have something at the Barclays Center with NXT.
That's the problem, I think, with Madison Square Garden and WWE in general is like, I went to a house show not too long ago. It's only a few weeks ago at Madison Square Garden. And, it's still WWE. It's still fun. It is what it is. But that's all they seem to be doing at Madison Square Garden is house shows. And you book WrestleMania weekend, like you just said, there's NXT, there's Raw, there's SmackDown, there's the actual event. That's 4 days worth of events in the New York tri-state area.
Yep.
And they're going to be in Giant Stadium, which is not technically, it is in New Jersey for WrestleMania, the show itself. Yeah. All the other shows are booked for Barclays Center. Why didn't you go to Madison Square Garden for at least one of them? So if I was MSG or in charge of MSG, I would feel disrespected on the partnership that I supposedly have with WWE. How dare the day before WrestleMania be open at Madison Square Garden? That's WWE's fault, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and you know what? And I mean, it's big because now that MSG is going to be allowing another promotion to happen,
opens the doors, right?
That's the thing. Now, and this is what I've been saying. I've been saying, guys, I don't think you should sleep on. Like, I've been to ROHs, and the amount of energy I have felt, dude,
passion, absolutely.
It's unheard. Like, I didn't feel that at any SmackDown. I've been to SmackDown events. I've been to Raw events. I've even been to WrestleManias, and even I fell asleep at one of the WrestleManias. You know that? It was the one where The Rock faced John Cena for the second time.
Yeah,
I fell asleep during that match.
That's good.
But here's the thing. I mean, granted, we were drinking.
And
it's a long event.
Probably like 6 hours later.
6 hours in, and I'm tired, and I'm like, dude, I can't take this anymore. I fell asleep during that match. But that would never happen in an ROH match.
No.
That would never happen. There's the amount of electricity that goes through that building. And we watched it at, Manhattan Center I've seen. Mm-hmm. I've seen it in some place in Philly. I don't fucking know where. And, I saw it at the, what's the other place that I fucking saw it at?
Well, but like you said, it's the passion. It's you feel a part of the show at a more intimate, smaller stadium like Ring of Honor performs in than you do in a giant stadium with WWE where you could be tuned out of the matches at any given point, honestly. But at Ring of Honor, you're just as much part of the show as the athletes are, and that's what makes it a fun experience.
Yeah, man. And you know what?
And now Madison Square Garden, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure Madison Square Garden's got to be one of the biggest venues they're ever going to run. Ring of Honor, they don't do over 10,000 seats, so it's going to be really interesting. Like I said, I'm expecting them to sell out, and I think like it's going to open doors for bigger venues other than MSG too. Once you see, once companies see that they could sell 10,000 tickets or more, all these other venues that WWE usually is in are going to open the doors for Ring of Honor now.
Not only that, but it's going to have more exposure because now more fans get the chance to see the product. And when they see and they feel that energy in MSG, I'm telling you right now, man, they might think twice. Listen, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. WWE fans are going to get mad at me for this, for even talking about this. Because it happened back then with WCW and WWE. People were like, how dare you like WCW? Like, that's not our brand. Fuck you. But, dude, WCW is so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, let's not fucking kid ourselves.
I grew up a WWF fan. I watched Raw religiously. I would flip to Nitro. Now with the WWE Network, I'm like rewatching Nitros, and it's like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of LOL moments. There's a lot of terrible moments. You could see that they don't know what they're doing backstage, but it is still a great show to watch. And like, there are a lot of hidden gems on some WWE Nitros.
Matter of fact, speaking of hidden gems, I just watched recently the other night. I watched Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels.
Oh yeah, triple threat in Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great match. Yeah,
man.
Great match.
Holy shit.
Like 10, 15 years ago already? Like 10 years at least? Yeah.
They look like little kids. Mm-hmm. They look like little kids, man. It was a lot of fun to watch too. And
now we're getting Joe and AJ at SummerSlam. We'll get to that.
So we're going to get to SummerSlam. So I wanted to bring up a couple of things that are going on in ROH and New Japan right now. It turns out there are guys whose contracts are they're gonna run out. I guess they're up.
Run out in WWE, you mean?
Yeah, in WWE at the beginning of next year. And there's also a guy in New Japan that WWE was looking after. They were like, we kind of want to sign this guy. Juice Robinson, right? And if you don't remember him, he's the guy he had those dreads. He was in NXT.
CJ Parker.
Yeah. And I'll make sure to have graphics up when I do the editing. But yeah, like they reached out to him. They said, we'd like to sign you. And he sent out a tweet saying, yeah, I'm never going back. Never, ever going to go back. In fact, you can take that and shove it up your ass, so to speak. And it's like, those are some powerful words from Juice Robinson about WWE. And, that's kind of echoing what I was kind of saying prior to this, where I was like, dude, there's going to be a lot of guys that don't even want to come back or don't want to give WWE a shot. And so, but now I know you have a lot to say about Juice Robinson.
Well, Juice Robinson, I'm not here to crap on anybody,
Go ahead, you can shit on him.
But I'm not, I don't look at Juice Robinson as anything special, to be honest. I watch his matches. He's not terrible. He's not good either. I don't know. He's a very just, middle-level guy, in my opinion.
I think anyway.
He's cute. But, good for him, though. I'd say, you got to look at it like any other type of jobs and businesses. WWE, you will make the money, but you will work for that money. You're on the road, whatever it is, 250 days a year, and you're going to make a great paycheck and a great money, but you're not home a lot. These other guys, the Cody Rhoses, the Young Bucks, what they're doing, changing the world, and so is a guy like Juice Robinson getting his popularity in Japan, wrestling a lot less. So, of course, they're making less money, but you're also home a lot more, or you have more options to be booked in other places, and you could go do your own thing, and you can make your money elsewhere. And more and more guys are starting to see this and realize this, and they're jumping on that bandwagon. And I think it's great for wrestling in general. As much as I'm a big WWE mark, I think it's great. Like, let these guys that are being underused or underappreciated in WWE, let them go. Let them know that they don't necessarily need a home as big as WWE, but they could go out there and they can make their money on the independent scene. They could set their own rules and still make a living in this business outside WWE.
It's really interesting to see, and there's back to the guys that are losing their contracts are going to be expiring next year, beginning of next year. We got Nakamura, which New Japan wants him back.
Of course,
they're fucking.
Who doesn't want New Japan?
But they're vocal about it. They're like, we need him back.
I'll hire Nakamura right now.
Absolutely.
If he's a free agent, he come work for me.
Yeah, I love him. But so they're making a push for him, and some of the things that I've read online is that people think that he's not happy with what's happened to him. And one can one can speculate that. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean, how could you not be happy? He's not in a bad spot. I don't think they're necessarily.
Well, he lost the title. He
didn't win the title.
He didn't win the title at WrestleMania, and then he lost like another 3 matches with AJ Styles. So
but then they gave him the consolation prize.
They gave him the U.S. title, whatever.
I'm okay with all that. My opinion, again, just my opinion. Nakamura's contract's up. I think he'd be smart to at least give it one more run in WWE. I don't know what they sign contracts for, if it's a 2-year, 3-year, 1 year, who knows. But give it another run now that you're established and you're on top in the WWE. I mean, yeah, he's U.S. champion, I get it, but he is a main level guy, So I feel like give it another run now that you're an established main eventer, and let's see where we go there on this next run. You
were saying earlier you think that he'll probably take another. He should take another contract for like another 2 or 3 years. I mean, they're not going to sign for one. It's going to
It's got to be multiple, 2 to 3. Yeah, 3 years. I think he definitely should, because I think it would be giving himself a fair enough chance to become an even bigger star. I think WWE has done a decent enough job. They got his merchandise, they got his figures, they push him hard. Yes, he lost the 3 title matches, but he won the Royal Rumble. Let's not forget. He did co-main event WrestleMania for the title. He's main evented with AJ Styles. He always has a good match, at least in my opinion. He always has a good match. I'm always interested to see Nakamura. I like the heel turn. I like the bad guy Nakamura stuff that he's doing. So, I think come January, February, whatever exactly it is when his contract ends, I think he'd be smart to re-sign.
All right. Well, there you go. That's Nakamura. I think that it would be interesting if he doesn't resign. If he says, fuck WWE, I'm going back.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Holy
that would be
shit,
huge.
dude.
And that'd be a whole nother set of eyes that are going to turn to see where Nakamura went, I think. And
can you imagine the buzz that would go with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's what I'm saying, absolutely.
I'd probably start crying. Like,
there would be, there are fans at my level, our level, and other people watching's level that are watching everything anyway, watching the New Japan. But for the WWE fans that live inside that bubble, when a guy like Nakamura leaves and they are curious, where did he go? And there you go. Now you're opening up eyes to see New Japan, maybe Ring of Honor, who knows what else.
Here's the thing. When he came to WWE, I thought maybe, that's it. They're going to get everybody. Nakamura's here. Who else is coming with them? But we didn't really get anybody else. I thought Kenny Omega was going to be over here as soon as possible.
Well, Kenny Omega is kind of like the Juice Robinson. He's the spearhead of the you don't need to go there type of thing. But, it's a weird thing because even Kenny Omega will admit that, I think he'll admit that he needs to go to WWE eventually. I think all these guys pass through at least because no matter how you slice it, WWE is always going to be the top promotion. It's always going to be the top dog. It's always the number one. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to stay there your whole life. And as we just said, you can make money outside WWE, but I do think you pass through. So Kenny Omega's got to ride this awesome wave that he's on. Yeah. He's the head of Japan right now. When that simmers down, I think he will be in WWE eventually. Same thing with the Bucks. I think they all eventually will come through WWE. There's too many dream matches and too much money on the table to not be made.
I don't see that happening, and the reason why is because the amount of success that they were able to achieve without being in the WWE. In fact, I'm pretty sure Kenny Omega was in WWE at one point.
Yeah, in their developmentals.
And he doesn't really say anything negative about him, but he also says I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
So I mean. He's saying stuff like that. I don't know, man. They don't need to.
They don't need to.
With Cody
I'll say that. They don't need to.
Yeah.
The need is not there. It's really up to them and their will to, want to achieve a certain level of success, I guess. But, I agree with you. They're successful now. They don't need the WWE. Those type of guys are proving and showing everybody else you don't need to be in the WWE. One can even
argue that WWE might need them.
True.
Yeah. So and that's a fucking good.
That's huge.
That's a good position to be in, man.
Absolutely.
So the next two, this one hurts my feelings, man. Because they were amazing, and now they're just fucking. They don't even exist anymore. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows,
oh my God,
aka the Club.
Speaking of irrelevant, it's a shame because again, I was a big fan of them coming from New Japan after what they accomplished. They made a big splash, a big impact. WWE. Now they're virtually non-existent.
Now their contract is expiring next year.
They would be good to go. They're out of here. They need to go. I mean, the only thing I could see is WWE tricking them into signing and giving them one of them small pushes that they always seem to do when your contract's almost up. All of a sudden you'll be in a title picture out of nowhere.
Yeah, like Dolph Ziggler right now.
Yeah, like Dolph Ziggler. Right? You can't fall for that. I think Gallows and Anderson might be the two that I would. Again, trust me when I tell you, I'm a big WWE mark. I'm all about WWE, but I'm a realist also. These guys, they need to go because they're just so irrelevant right now. And even if you see them pop up on TV, you've been trained to expect them to lose. Yeah. That's it. They're jobbers now. That's just the way it is. And I hate saying that because I like the two of them. I think they're both awesome. They're a great team, but they're just not being used properly in WWE. They're like I said, virtually non-existent. And if they do exist and when they do pop up on your screen, you're trained to know they're going to lose, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I think they'd be better off going.
It'd be nice, and you know what? If they were to leave, and let's say they leave and they achieve success, they go right back to where they left off and they take off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how's that going to look to the rest of the roster?
Right.
There's going to be people that are going to see that kind of shit.
Exactly.
And man, God, I can't wait for next year now, because if that happens, it'll be so much fun to see how people react. And also, that's going to be around the time that WrestleMania is like in full fledged, and with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson showing up in their promotions during that week, that's going to create more buzz.
Like you said, if their contracts are up in February, then I guess they would be allowed to be wrestling by April.
You see how so that's my predictions right now. It's shaping up to be nuclear when this shit happens, and when it happens, man, I'm telling you, I'm just gonna be in heaven. Like wrestling fan heaven. I just be like, oh my god, and it's happening here where we live. Staten Island, baby.
So again, I would give. So back to the point though, that those two, I'd say go. If they have the opportunity to be at WWE and they know they can make that money because they've already proven it. So go back to Japan, coexist with Ring of Honor, however it works. Work less dates, make a little bit less money, but be in a better position for yourselves later on. Because you can always go back to WWE. It's always an open door policy. So go back to New Japan. Go remind the fans. Go remind the WWE what you were, who you were, and what you can do, and then maybe they'll come calling, and you'll be in a better spot in another 2 years.
Yeah, and now the last one whose contract is expiring as well. Not that I just have to mention it because it is expiring technically, so it's kind of news, but we all know he's probably not going to re-sign with New Japan or anything like that. AJ Styles,
right? His
contract is expiring at the end of this year, or starting at the beginning of next year, and it's expiring. Do people think he's going to jump? Not really. Nobody thinks so. But if he did, man, I would shit my pants.
The only thing I can imagine being a hiccup, again, it comes to the dates. You got to remember, WWE being the touring circus they're on that road 250 to more days a year. Probably more than 250 days a year they're on the road. You know what I mean? So AJ Styles is the type of guy, he's worked his whole life to get to this level. I feel like WWE's treated him right, so I don't think he's upset with anything about position. It would come down to dates, I think that's what it works out. If he can work somehow at WWE where he doesn't have to work that much, then I think it's fine. That would be the only hiccup I see. But otherwise, someone like AJ Styles, he would be one guy that doesn't make sense to leave right now. It doesn't make any sense to go.
Although if he did leave.
Again, massive.
Oh, man, you talk about me marking out. I'll be fucking myself in my panties.
Well, one other guy, though, let me mention real quick. I don't know if we talked about it on the last podcast, but like Daniel Bryan's contract. His contract ends supposedly September 1st. Now, like I said earlier, I went to that MSG event not too long ago. They were promoting Daniel Bryan for December at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
So I assume that means that something's going to get worked out already. But there was rumors about how Daniel Bryan's contract coincidentally ends on the same day as All In, the pay-per-view that Cody Rhodes is running. So how amazing would that be if Daniel Bryan finds a little loophole to make a little quick appearance on the day his contract ends and then just re-sign with WWE right after that? That'd be amazing, too.
You know what I would do, man? I'd fucking start crying.
He needs to wrestle in a mask and call himself the Dragon and just be on the show.
I'd be so pissed off because I didn't get tickets to that fucking show, man. God.
Yeah, well, it sold out in 29 minutes. So.
You know, a good segue. Let's go back. Now we're going to go into All In, right? So let's talk about All In. So we already have 3 matches announced for All In. And, Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega doing every day they post something on YouTube. They have their own YouTube channel. They're promoting the hell out of it. They're doing a phenomenal job. And if Daniel Bryan were to show up for All In, I don't even know. Chris Jericho
heads will explode.
Chris Jericho wants to be a part of All In. I remember seeing he has some tweets out like, "Hey, listen, I want to be part of it." Again,
that's that whole U.S. show territory thing.
Well, no, I think what's going on with that is that they can't afford him. Because Cody Rhodes says it, like Chris Jericho's constantly hitting us up, but I don't know if we can afford this. Do you think we can afford him? And they're like, you can probably afford him. They're like, yeah, I guess. You have no idea how much money we're spending on this. Like, I love watching those little featurettes
they have. To be in the Elite featurettes.
Yeah, man, they have a lot of featurettes out there.
Shout out to be in the Elite. There's some free advertising for
you. Yeah, shout out to you guys doing great work. And it's amazing watching them, because when they're talking to each other, like, dude, we don't fucking know what we're doing. We're like, we have to promote this shit. We got to book it. We got to talk to all these guys and get their contracts in and see if we can fly people in. And it's a lot of things that are going on with this production. I don't want it to suck. So we're not really spending a little bit. We're spending a lot to make sure it doesn't suck. And the fact that 10,000 people, it sold out that quickly, now the pressure's on.
Well, yeah,
So
that's why they only have 3 matches announced, and we're about a month away, a little bit more than a month away. They don't need matches announced. Like it's sold out with no card booked whatsoever.
yeah.
It's gonna be a success no matter what. It's kind of like seeing a terrible movie, like one of these bad DC movies, because it's like everybody wants to see Batman, Superman on the screen, but the movie's gonna suck. It's still gonna make its money. Same thing with All In. All In, obviously, we don't think it's gonna suck, but let's just say it did for whatever reason. They're good. They made their money off it. People are gonna see it. People are already up buying it. Selling out in 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So it's definitely gonna happen.
I actually have the updated card. We got Nick Aldis versus Cody.
Right, that's the main event, right?
Yeah.
For the NWA Championship, which I have around here somewhere.
You do?
It's over there.
Oh my god, we should. Yeah, it's over there. So we got Marty Scurll.
I already won it, but that's another story.
Marty Scurll versus Okada. I don't know.
Okada.
I don't know how to say his fucking first name, dude. I don't give a shit. Because Kawasaki Okada. I'm sorry if anybody happens to be Asian. Please don't hate me on this. And then we also have let's see here.
Adam Page and Joey Janela.
Yeah, man, this is just
3 matches.
And then they have like a list of all the wrestlers that are also scheduled to be. They're announced.
All in.
So we got Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Marty Scurll, Adam Page, Kenny Omega, Stephen Amell.
Stephen Amell. That's the
no.
What do you call it? That's the Green Arrow.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Tessa Blanchard, Phoenix Pentagon Jr., Chelsea Green, Joey Janela.
Yeah.
Joey Janela. Penelope Ford, Okada, Jay Lethal, Britt Baker, Matt Cross.
I didn't know Jay Lethal was all in.
Yeah, he's in. And NWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis. Mm-hmm. So those are the guys that are announced to be there at All In.
With only 3 matches officially announced. Yeah. I saw something online a couple weeks ago when Cody basically flat out said we're never going to announce a full match card anyway. Yeah. Like, they don't intend on giving us the full card, so.
That's because they don't know who can show up at any time.
I don't think so. I think you're right. Maybe to a degree.
Because one of the things he said was, I'm a little worried because Rey Mysterio, like he says he's going to be there, right? But he's flying out from like fucking, I think it's California, the night before. And he's like, I'm a little worried because what if his flight gets canceled or it gets like, there's a delay or
the problems of being the boss, Cody. All right, these are your problems.
That's what he's worried. And he's saying, he's like, there's so many things that I'm thinking about right now where I'm like, what if, that's why I don't want to, I think that's why he doesn't want to announce the match. Because if somebody doesn't show up, now you got to fucking change it.
I'll tell you, the way the world seemed to be working for a moment there for the last few weeks, until this is, again, before the MSG announcement was made, you had like the New Day messing with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks at the E3. They played Street Fighter against each other and stuff like that. And WWE actually acknowledged it, which is on their website, which is like unheard of for them to ever mention somebody outside WWE. And I thought for a moment in time that maybe they're going to work some kind of deal out, because I think a dream match, at least for the independent scene, would be like the New Day versus Kenny and the Bucks. Yeah. I think that'd be amazing. And I thought maybe they were going to try to get New Day to like make an appearance at All In. But now I feel like once that MSG thing got announced, it's like that's it. I think Vince is not going to have anybody work with any talent.
I think at that point it was keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
Yeah.
But now, like it looks like battle lines are starting to be
which I think is just good for the wrestling business. Still, honestly, the battle lines. Like I said, this MSG thing is really going to change the whole atmosphere of wrestling. It really is going to open up doors for everything and everybody.
I can feel that like momentum, that electricity that we felt back in the day during the Monday night. I mean, it's not even close to the Monday Night Wars, but I mean,
it's something.
It's something.
It's a shake up, yeah.
It's like when you see you're about to get a storm and you see the fucking storm clouds coming. Like, well, it's not raining yet. I don't hear any thunder, but man, does that look kind of cool. So that's kind of what's going on right now. And I'm not gonna lie, dude, I'm getting a little wet watching it. It's fucking awesome.
Yep.
So now. We'll talk about All In and how WWE is using their slogan to talk about evolution. So that's a good segue. We're going to talk evolution now. That pay-per-view, and they're using the All In slogan.
Well, I think I don't want to correct you. I think they were using the All In to promote Total Divas, the show.
Oh, Total Divas.
Yeah, I don't think they were using it. They were using it to create Total Divas. Like
that's where I made that confusion
on their commercial or whatever it is, and. I read a tweet. I don't have the exact words in front of me, but I did read something along the lines of Cody saying, like, I don't blame the girls for that, obviously. And he was basically trying to say that the marketing people in that work behind the scenes have their heads up their asses. That was the quote he did say. Their heads were up their asses. And that they he wouldn't even be surprised if they don't even realize All In is a term that they're using.
He was implying that, like, dude, they don't even check.
Right.
And they're so oblivious to what's going on in social media.
He also said something like, the people that work there, they're just checking Facebook to make sure their bosses don't realize they're not actually doing any work or something along those lines. Like I said, I don't have the quote in front of me, but he did say something like that, just basically shitting on the whole atmosphere behind the scenes for WWE and or the Total Divas production crew.
I'll make sure that I find the quote and I'll put it. I'll put like a little graphic up for.
But it just goes to show you how, like, in a corporate world as big as WWE, the left hand don't know what the right hand's doing. You got to imagine, like, how stupid could you be? You know what I mean? To be using, like, all you're doing inadvertently is promoting the other Fed now. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're doing.
You're promoting them, and that's not what you're supposed to do at all.
Because now you got to laugh. You got to laugh out of all the internet wrestling fans, whether you hate them or not. You got to laugh out of fans like us. Now because you sit there, you just laugh. There's nothing that you can do. You look at WWE trying. I don't know if they thought. If they did it, like, literally not knowing that Cody and their crew were using it, or if they're doing it, like, trying to steal their thunder. Either way, it just comes off real amateur hour, and it's laughable, in my opinion.
I love that amateur hour. Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, the WWE is just like they do something that's really awesome,
right?
And then they do something that's really like, why did you do that? Like, how did you fuck that one up? And I don't get it.
Like, I don't know if we're gonna give Triple H all the credit, but whatever's going on with the Women's Evolution pay-per-view, with the territorial system that they're almost seemingly like they're building in NXT. They got the UK, they're going to have a UK division. They're branching out into Europe a lot. All that old school approach they're taking to making developmental territories all worldwide. I love that idea. It sounds like it's Triple H's idea, but then like, on the other hand, you have corporate people, using the All In slogan or doing other stupid, like, it just makes no sense. It's like, how is some stuff going so right, and then you got some other stuff going so wrong, and they're under the same umbrella?
Yeah.
It's like, why is it not communication here? I don't understand.
Well, and then you got guys that are even saying that, like Daniel Bryan saying the creative team sucks. Like, I wouldn't want the creative team to do something like that. You got
because they're supposedly they're writers as opposed to wrestling fans. They're not writing wrestling. They're writing television and then filling in the wrestling, which, let's go back to the principles here. It's supposed to be the wrestling, and then you tell a story within it. It's not supposed to be the other way around.
Yeah.
It's almost like they create a story and they write it down with an enter name here situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, who does this work for? Okay, here, Elias and Finn Balor.
Yeah.
They just plug them into a pre-written storyline. That's not how it should go. Everything storylines like the Attitude Era. I don't want to get into that. We talked about it last time, but it's like, let the stories be organic. Let two wrestlers. Like, what happened to the idea of a ranking system? What happened to the idea of, like, two wrestlers are allowed to just wrestle without a story? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can do that. You can just put two guys together, and then maybe organically it turns into something, and then you start putting storylines in place. It seems like WWE does the reverse now. It's like they write out a story, and then they just throw two guys into the mix, or two females into the mix. And I think that's like ass backwards.
Well, all right. Well, let's go on and talk about Evolution now.
Evolution is a mystery.
Yeah. So
blah, 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 Triple H.
So Evolution is they made the announcement on Monday Night Raw, which I thought was the cheesiest thing. I mean, they didn't need to have the whole locker room out to do this announcement, and they were hyping it up, and people are pissed off because they were jamming it down our throats that entire evening. Like, every fucking time they had a chance to say something.
Every wrestler said something.
Everybody. Hey, let me just plug in Evolution again. Oh, good, congratulations. And hi, I hate you. Oh, but also Evolution. And back to hating women again. Like, what the fuck? Here's the thing that really annoyed me as well. Stephanie, and I have it written in my notes. Yep. It says, Evolution, Stephanie McMahon is an idiot. That is what I wrote down in my notes. And I'm going to elaborate on that because some people may like Stephanie McMahon because she's hot. Whatever, that's fine. There's a lot of hot girls, but she's still a fucking moron, and I can't stand it. And here's why. Well, the one thing is, I did not like that she came out, and during the announcement, she's like, well, I just wanted to say that, back when we didn't really treat them good, and we gave them 30-second matches, and we were kind of shitting on the women, you guys were loud and you made me have to change my mind. And so, fine, here you go. You wanted them. It's like, why would you talk about how you shit on the women? And now it's like you're saying, I don't want this. You do. So I kind of have to give it to you.
That is kind of how it came off.
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, let's be honest, like it's like there's a lot of like it's infamous for like treating the women like objects
like,
for
and lower tier.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the bathroom break. It's the, hey, you know what? If we're going to put them out there, might as well have bra and panty matches. And, you know what? We'll make these two lesbians. And, hey, why don't we have Lita's a great athlete and she's put on a lot of great matches, but let's just reduce her down to having sex in the middle of the ring with Edge. Oh, wait, she cheated on Matt? Let's fucking put that in there, too, because she doesn't have any skills. I just want to use her as an object.
Right.
I mean, like, I don't want to fucking go off on this, but she said it. She's the one that said it, not me. She's the one that came up and said, hey, before we fucking love you, I just want to say, remember when we hated them? Remember when we treated them like shit? Well, you guys saved them. You saved them. Like, that's not a good look. Are you trying to be a good guy?
Now, is this where I come in and defend WWE like the mark that I am?
You might have to, because I fucking hate Stephanie McMahon. And Vince McMahon's like, I don't even want to talk about this.
Yeah, here's Stephanie to tell you.
Where's my daughter? Because I hate women. And like, I'm just like, he's not even going to say, he didn't say anything. He just stood there like an old man.
Well, all right. So let me come to the defense of WWE, like as if they pay me.
I want to apologize, by the way, in case people like fucking like that. Stephanie, but I hated it.
Again, I can't put words in Stephanie's mouth. She did say it oddly. I'll give you that. But
yeah.
I think she maybe was trying to imply the 30-second matches, like you said, that those were the bathroom breaks back in the day.
Yeah.
The wrestlers themselves in the ring, some of them were, but most of them weren't as skilled as they are today. Okay, so I think what she meant was the fans have taken more of an interest in the women's wrestling now than they ever did in the past, which is definitely true, because even myself, as I could speak on.
It didn't even happen in WWE. It happened in NXT,
right,
with the four horsewomen putting their fucking bodies on the line and having crazy good matches. And that's why when Triple H started speaking and it seemed like he was getting choked up, I was like, that's real. Dude, that's his baby. Like, NXT was like his baby, and it turned into what it is now. And these women became the four horsewomen because of NXT. And you know, when he said, I'm really proud of you, like, you have no idea, and he was, like, getting choked up, I was, like, legit going, oh, dude, that makes sense.
He seemed the most sincere of the three.
Yeah, this man didn't say anything. He's like, fucking fuck this, I don't care. Stephanie McMahon's like, I have to hog up the spot. Like, and I'm one of the four, like, what? Come on, Stephanie.
She's the fifth horsewoman.
Fucking, But then Triple H grabbed the mic, and like, usually Triple H, I think he's, like, an egomaniac sometimes, but with that one, I kind of was like, you know, thank God he saved it, because,
like I said, I think that's what Stephanie was probably meant to imply. You know, I think that's what she was trying to say, because if I'm gonna twist her words slightly, you know, she was saying we made it happen, and like I said, that's because we expressed more interest in the women over the years than when we say we, I mean the fans, than we ever showed in the past. You know, even as popular as Trish Stratus was, as popular as Lita was, you know, their matches were never like what you went to the show to see. You know, they were never necessarily what you were there for, you know. But now the argument can be made, especially on an NXT card that has 4 to 5 matches on it, you know, the women's match can steal the show at any given time, you know. So Oscar on the WWE, you know,
well, Oscar
her match at WrestleMania was the best match of Mania, I think, you know, off the top of my head, best match on the card. So I think that's what she probably meant.
And in NXT, man, they have so many classics like fucking Becky Lynch and Ember Moon had match.
In New York Oscar. A couple of years ago was Sasha and Bayley at NXT. Yeah. You know, it was an awesome match.
Fucking phenomenal, dude. I couldn't get enough of it. And so I'm happy that Evolution is a thing, because the women deserve it, you know, and they put in a lot of fucking work.
The mystery is solved. Evolution is a all-women's pay-per-view.
Now we know.
That was the mystery of Evolution.
Triple H, he finally, like, that's the end of his saga. It's like, I just did it for this only. That's all. But now, moving on to the Evolution thing, right? There's been a lot of, what was the thing you just told me before with somebody asked, it was Dave Meltzer, said something about Triple H was asked, are you only doing the Evolution thing for the women because you're about to go to Saudi Arabia again? And
he basically said one had nothing to do with the other.
Yeah, but we're like, but does it though? Because the women aren't allowed to go over there, so you're giving them their own pay-per-view over here.
And their pay-per-view is happening just a few weeks before going back to Saudi Arabia in November.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how 2 and 2 don't make sense because it's happening real close.
I don't want to say
Triple H shot that down, but he said no one has nothing to do with the other. But that essentially makes me think looks like something has to do with it.
I would assume the positioning of the pay-per-view probably does have something to do with the fact that not going to Saudi Arabia. On the same token, I would imagine take Saudi Arabia out of the equation, take the whole we're going to Saudi Arabia, take that out of the equation. Would the woman pay-per-view still have happened? I think so.
I think so too.
I think it still would have happened. So that's why you can't necessarily
just bad
say
timing.
Right. You can't say one is necessarily just because of the other, but the positioning of the pay-per-view I think does have a lot to do with it because they'll be going to Saudi Arabia again, and they're not going to be bringing any of the women with them. And Triple H did say, we don't have to agree with their customs, but it is their customs. It is their way of life. It is the way that it is over there. So
now this is directly from Dave Meltzer's, podcast. It says, if you remember, the big thing they were criticized for was not bringing the women to Saudi Arabia, which I guess they couldn't do. I guess they weren't allowed, which is weird because the Russian circus brought women to perform in Saudi Arabia. They got to bring them in, whereas the WWE didn't. I'm sure that this is all tied in. That's what he said, right? But he goes on to say that, Meltzer states that all women from the main roster will take part in the Evolution pay-per-view, as well as the vast majority of women in NXT. He also speculates that the pay-per-view will feature some kind of battle royale, tag team battle royal, or Royal Rumble type match in order to get everyone in the show. So, I mean, I don't know if that's true, but he kind of has a point where, they're not allowed to go, so maybe we should do this now.
Right.
Maybe it was in the works.
Well, like I said, the timing of it is probably more than coincidental. I will give you that. But like I said, take Saudi Arabia out of the equation, and we were going to get a women's show anyway. I do have one small problem with the idea of it, though, is that I don't like them promoting it the way they are because, it could just as easily be a network special. We've done the Mae Young Classic. People will tune in and see it, but now you're promoting it like it's this big official pay-per-view.
Yeah, jamming it down your throat.
Right, jamming it down your throat.
It's coming soon.
It kind of comes off to me more like the Greatest Royal Rumble was. It's just a kind of like I don't want to say a glorified house show, but again, it's just an event. It's just a special event on their own network.
Now, Dave Meltzer also he made a great point here. It says Evolution will also likely face legitimate television competition, as Meltzer notes that the event takes place on the same night as NFL Sunday Night Football and the MLB World Series. So it is going to fit. Yeah. Now that we know that, it's like, ooh, shit.
That's some stiff competition.
It is some stiff competition, and I think that's interesting, and I think Dave Meltzer might be onto something. He also put down that Charlotte Flair possibly wants to be the main event of the WWE Evolution. So,
I don't know how the ratings work for a subscription network. I'm not sure. I can't speak on that. I have no details. I don't know. But okay, so you're on your own WWE network, so let's just say for argument's sake that nobody tunes in to watch the women's pay-per-view on Sunday night when it airs live. Yeah. What happens Monday morning when you go and watch it? Does that matter? Yeah. I honestly don't know. I'm sorry. I don't have those kind of inside details, but once you're on the WWE network, you're on the WWE network. You pay $9.99 a month for it, so it's there and it exists. And I'm sure they calculate views to a degree. They have to know who's watching what. I know that, but do ratings count? Does that matter? Actually, I'm not even sure.
I think now I don't know. I'm just kind of grasping at straws here, but I think maybe it does matter more if you watch it live because you can't fast forward through all the commercials that they're going to put up. Because WWE has a lot of commercials in their fucking. I mean, we all know that. So if you're watching it live, you can't really fast forward through all the garbage you don't want to see. When you're watching it the next day, guess what? Fast forward through that. I'm not fucking watching this. That I don't give a shit about that. And you just keep going forward until you watch the rest of the show.
You think it does have to calculate the live aspect of it?
Yeah, because and the advertisers probably see the analytics of that, and they might see that, hey, it shows here that they're fast forwarding, or maybe they have that kind of.
I feel like they have to on your own network. Yeah. They gotta have there's no way they don't know what people are watching on the network. I don't know about the fast forward concept, but without a doubt, if you click on something and you watch it, and hundreds and millions of people are doing that, they have to know. That's how we get this original.
Nobody's going to sit there and go, "Oh, I can't wait to see this KFC commercial."
Right. because like these at least two to three shows that they have on the network, like their Camp WWE, which is the cartoon, or the Ride Along. These things have now had second and third seasons. So you got to imagine that somebody's calculating to see that it's being watched for the first season. They're not just throwing money at something and not making money off it.
Well, no, I meant it for the advertisers. Like when they're advertising outside companies, like endorsements or whatnot. Because they do that. And if you're
cricket, I saw cricket is the newest. Yeah. That's the newest commercial they have on the network. Promoting cricket on the network.
Yeah. So if that company sees, we need them to watch it live because they can't fast forward through it. But if you had only this many people watching it live, now they're going to watch it the next day. They're not going to watch our commercial. Right. So that's where I think WWE must be like, oh shit. Right. So.
Well, listen,
that's just speculation. That's just me grasping
all we've announced so far through WWE is that there is a pay-per-view named Evolution that will have all women. There are no matches. There's nothing booked. So we got some time to see how they're going to promote it and how they're going to book it because, like you said, going up against some competition on that night, they're going to pull out all the stops. We already know. I mean, this isn't a fact, but we know that the likes of like a Trish Stratus and the Litas and all the other legendary women wrestlers, they're all going to be there. Everybody's going to show up. There's probably going to be Battle Royal because you got to put everybody on the card. It has the potential to be a super stacked card. So we'll see. Most likely Ronda Rousey and or Charlotte are going to be in the main event because those are probably your top two, or Asuka, top three women's wrestlers. Maybe the rumblings of the 4 horsewomen from WWE versus the 4 horsewomen from the UFC, slash NXT now. Yeah. So we'll see. There's a lot of potential. Could they stack the card and make it something that everybody definitely wants to tune into? Absolutely. WWE has the magic touch sometimes with things like that. Or if they do the opposite and it just becomes a dull card that nobody's going to give a shit about and they'll never do it again. So we'll see.
So now we get to the final topic, and the one that we have a lot of notes on is SummerSlam.
Summerfest.
Some people are calling it Summer Scam.
Summer Scam.
I got to tell you, man, before we get into this, I'm not really excited for SummerSlam, and that's sad because SummerSlam is one of the big 4 events that they run every year.
It's supposed to be, I guess, number 2.
Right? Yeah, everybody looks forward to SummerSlam, and right now I couldn't give 2 shits.
Well, I think the problem is if we're going to break it down a little bit for you, the card here, but, the SmackDown side of things seems to be way more interesting, at least in my opinion, again, folks, seems to be more interesting than the Raw side. The Raw side is all rematches.
I think that most people at home would probably agree with that because you've already seen the matches on Raw. Right. You haven't seen some of these matches on SmackDown. I have a big
problem with rematches on a main show. Say what you will about the in-between pay-per-views, all these in-between ones. You do whatever you want, rematches, whatever. They're glorified Monday Night Raw shows anyway. But, you take SummerSlam. I don't know why we only have, what's officially booked, like 4 or 5 matches, and
so I can go down.
3/4 of them are rematches already. And again, I don't want to shit on anybody. I'm not shitting on the performers, the wrestlers, or anything like that. But
7 matches.
7 matches announced. Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens again. Okay.
I can read them right
now. What else we got?
So we got. We'll start from the top. We got AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe.
Well, that's not a rematch. That's like I said. That's the SmackDown side of things. That's the match that.
You want me to read only the rematches then?
Yeah, that match itself is going to sell the pay-per-view. I feel.
That's the only one I kind of care about. Yeah. We got Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns.
Like, do we even need to discuss that? Right.
I mean, we will be discussing that because I have a lot to say about that shit. We got. Well, that's not. Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler.
Right, which rumor has it they're gonna add to that match, right?
Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens.
So real quick, Roman and Brock, that's a rematch, Monday Night Raw side. Seth Dolph Ziggler booked right now, that's a rematch, Monday Night Raw side. Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens is booked, that's a rematch from the Raw side. That's 3 matches right there.
Yeah, and then we got possibly Sasha Banks and Bayley. We have no idea what's going on.
Well, we don't know where that story's going, so sure. Yeah.
But that's it. That's all. And then the rest of them are SmackDown ones.
Right. So you got
Alexa Bliss is.
And Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey, which is not a rematch, but where's Nia Jax and why is she not in that match? That's a whole other story.
All right. So let's dissect some of the things that are going on with this SummerSlam. All right.
Okay. We'll start at the top again.
You want to start at the top? You want to start at the best, or you want to start at work our way to the top?
We'll start at the top because I want to talk about that because that's the only thing I'm really excited about, to be honest.
Yeah, so. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. Even though it just came out of nowhere, I'm still fucking happy that they're having the
Right,
match.
absolutely.
But once again, it could have been better.
Right.
It could have been a better build. Instead, he just shows up and goes, "Oh, I'm gonna choke you."
I 100% agree with you, but then there's another part of my mind that says, I don't care.
Who cares?
Just get them in the ring.
Get them in the ring.
So that's your match that New York will go crazy for. That's the match everybody wants to see. That's a match that, in my opinion, it doesn't even matter who wins.
Here's
it
the
really
thing,
doesn't.
though.
AJ Styles winning is okay because he's on an awesome run. He's still a favorite, and he's AJ Styles. You can't hate. Samoa Joe winning, that's him getting the WWE title. That's a big deal, and that's an awesome moment in itself. That's a match that is going to get cheered out of the building. I'm predicting the "This is awesome" chants. I'm predicting the both these guys chants. And in my opinion, it really doesn't matter. That's the one match on the card that everybody is going to can't wait to see. And it's something that WWE did right for once, where they booked themselves into a situation that you can't lose. WWE can't lose on that match, in my opinion.
Okay, so and that's. Look, I want to believe that. I want to because I know that they can put on a fucking awesome match. I just watched one in Impact, but we felt the same way about Nakamura versus AJ Styles.
Yeah.
We felt the same way, and they fucked that one up.
The first one, I thought, the WrestleMania match was good. Yeah. But then they did 2 rematches that were not as good, and the whole low blow thing.
I think the WrestleMania match wasn't as good as it could have been, man.
You think so?
No, I don't think it was good. I mean, they put on an okay match, but I didn't want to see an okay match. I wanted to see what you're saying.
Right.
I wanted to see one where we're fucking chanting, "This is awesome." We're ripping our shirts. We're grabbing random strangers and going, "I love you." Like, that's the kind of shit I wanted to see.
Right.
But we didn't get that.
Right.
Instead, we got okay, that was a match.
Right. It wasn't a match that's going to be talked about for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the outcome was different. AJ Styles won the match. So I want to think that Samoa Joe's going to win the title, but maybe he doesn't win the title.
He might not. But like I said, I think I'm a big fan of champions, with their runs,
Yeah.
So AJ Styles is on a great run right now. He won that belt all the way back in November. He won the championship. So he's on a tremendous, awesome run. And is it time for it to end? Who knows? Sure, some can argue yes, some are going to argue no. That's why I say I feel like you win no matter what. AJ winning clean in a match with Samoa Joe is going to put AJ onto another plane again because he's, Samoa Joe's an animal. Samoa Joe winning the belt puts him in a different plane because now he's a bona fide main eventer. He is the WWE champion, and like we said earlier, say what you will about WWE, the king of the castle, the top of the heap is the WWE championship. You win that belt, you're famous. You're top dog. So Samoa Joe deserves it, and I would love to see him win it. I wouldn't be surprised if AJ wins though. But either way, win-win.
Well, yeah, I think the match is going to be fun, but I'm nervous.
Yeah,
and honestly, I think it's warranted for me to be nervous because
WWE has a track record, right?
They have a track record for not performing the way we want them to perform.
Sure.
Like they just kind of water it down, and But you know what? That could be a great match, and it should be a great match. So I don't know. That could go either way.
All right, what next?
So the next one is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns.
I really don't even have much to say on this, except obviously nobody wants to see this match. I don't even think Brock wants the match. Nobody wants to see
Brock Lesnar. It's speculated that Brock Lesnar does not want to have this match with Roman Reigns, and they're saying, "Fuck you, we're gonna have it."
It's the classic Vince McMahon shoving his Roman down your throat. It's just.
But why though?
But why? Yeah, nobody can. Listen, I'll give you again just to try to be the WWE advocate that I am. Maybe the reaction is all they care about. Maybe they know that New York is going to shit on that match so bad, and that's the reactionary they want, maybe just to have noise in the arena. I don't know, but obviously nobody wants to see it. Nobody cares of the outcome either. That's another thing. Like that's what they don't seem to understand. People hate Roman. Some people are getting tired of this Brock Lesnar situation with the belt. I think maybe most people are. At least you talk about the opposite of the AJ Samoa Joe. I mean, you got the WWE Championship on the line with AJ and Samoa Joe, and as I was trying to say, win-win. You got Brock Lesnar Roman with the other belt on the line, and it's lose-lose. It's the total opposite. There is nobody that's going to cheer no matter who wins. Look at WrestleMania as a perfect example. Roman and Brock. I mean,
debauchery.
I think 3/4 of the world thought Roman Reigns was winning that match. He was supposed to win, I believe. Yeah. Brock signed a last-minute deal and got the win in, and the crowd still didn't care. Like that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like nobody cares. You pulled a swerve on the fans, and Brock got the win. Great. Nobody gave a shit. They were just already shitting on the match, and nobody cared. Bobby Lashley, I don't know why he was factored out of this match. Maybe the marquee of Bobby Lashley versus Brock doesn't sound too attractive to them for some reason, but throw him in the match at least because we're tired of Roman Reigns versus Brock. Nobody cares.
Not only that, but like Roman Reigns, when he won the match against Bobby Lashley on Raw, on the WWE Network or WWE YouTube channel, they had the highlights for that match. That's the only time I think ever that it had more dislikes than likes.
Does it really?
Yeah, it has more.
Wow.
At the time when I checked it, it had 35,000 dislikes and only 30,000 likes.
Right.
Which is because I was looking at it, it was consistently like, oh, way more likes.
Yeah.
Than
But see, but here's the problem with that, because I see what you're saying about that, but WWE doesn't look at it like that.
No.
WWE looks at it as that was 70,000 people watching. Like that's their mentality. So yeah, there's 31,000 dislikes and there's 30,000 likes, but that's 60,000 eyes.
It was 35,000 dislikes. So
Right.
an extra 5,000 people dislike it more than the 30,000.
They look at it like that's close to 70,000 people watching that YouTube clip. Like that's their mentality. But they don't understand that, okay, yeah, 70,000 people watched it, but, to hate on it. And that's what's going to happen at SummerSlam. You're going to have 20,000 people in the arena shitting on it.
Yeah, and it's in New York.
And it's New York, they know what you're going to get in that New York crowd. God forbid Roman Reigns raises his hand holding that belt in New York. There's going to be a riot. I'm telling you. I've been there before. I've seen it.
The thing that I'm hearing a lot online is people are just saying, you know what, fuck it, dude, just win the title, get it over with,
and get it back on Raw.
And just get the title back, give it to this piece of shit, and we'll just I want this to be over.
Well, if you would allow me to segue to our next match, this has something to do with it. The Money in the Bank briefcase, whether it's held by Braun Strowman or his SummerSlam opponent Kevin Owens at the time, I have to make the prediction that if not on SummerSlam, by latest the Monday following, that briefcase is getting cashed in. And I don't know if it's going to be on Roman or Brock because, again, it doesn't even matter who wins the match. That briefcase is getting cashed in and won by the Money in the Bank contract holder. I'm going with Braun Strowman being the guy, as my wrestling expertise states, but Kevin Owens has a chance at doing it too. So, but yet again, as we were talk about, that's yet another rematch. Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman on the card for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Totally unnecessary.
And it's for the monkey.
The Money in the Bank contract.
The monkey.
But I think you would have been better served having Braun Strowman just standing by with the briefcase, because you drop the hint on the fans that it's getting cashed in no matter what. Drop that hint. Have Braun Strowman just standing there, no match booked, holding the briefcase, and let the fans know, all right, he's cashing in. You know what I mean? Like because we already kind of know. Like it's gotta get done.
That would be really cool. Actually.
Why even book him in a match? He shouldn't even have been in the match. He should have been like, no, I'm just gonna stand by and watch this world title match because I'm probably gonna cash in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
that would have been fun.
Make it real. Like that's real. This whole concept of holding that briefcase, we know what it's for, and we're not saying he has to say he's definitely doing it, but have that sense of realism. Like, no, you know what? I'm not wrestling tonight because I'm gonna stand by and watch this main event match because I'm going to probably be walking out champion myself. Why do it that way?
Everything is just like revolving around this fucking match nobody wants. And one of the things that I'm really upset about is, okay, listen, Bobby Lashley, he's stale. Nobody really liked him when he first got in, right? But he started building momentum. He beat Roman Reigns. And the fans were like,
all right.
All right. Okay, we don't like Roman Reigns, so thank you. And he's having good matches.
His matches aren't bad.
Bobby Lashley was really performing well, and if you saw how much he sweats, like he's a sweaty machine. But he's putting on good matches. Roman Reigns can put on good matches too. But you just ruined all of his momentum. Like first of all, he won the match at Extreme Rules. And now he lost one match against Roman Reigns again, and now that's it. He doesn't get a shot.
Well, like I said, the ranking, the quote unquote ranking system in WWE is non-existent.
And Roman Reigns lost every fucking match.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
So it makes no sense.
Roman's actually lost more than he's won in the last few months.
Yeah,
and he's getting a title shot at SummerSlam.
And Bobby Lashley's not even in the pay-per-view now.
Well, we got a list for that too. Let's finish SummerSlam.
Yeah,
first, so we spoke briefly about Braun Strowman, Kevin Owens. It's yet another rematch. I'm predicting Braun to win it. But there's about a 25% chance Owens can walk out that briefcase because traditionally the Money in the Bank briefcase works better with a heel.
Okay, so
there's that.
Now we got Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship.
I'm all for the match. I have no problem with it. I'm going to say that I think Ronda Rousey's winning the Women's Championship because I think she's going to be the champion going into the Evolution pay-per-view. However, I think it's also upsetting that Nia Jax is not in this match, and it doesn't make any sense why she's not in the match.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. We have that list that we got to talk about. But Nia Jax, she doesn't get a no rematch clause.
Yeah, they like to pull that rematch clause out of their ass every chance they get, and then ignore it every chance that they don't use it.
And they're using the whole like, well, Ronda Rousey was cheated out of a match, so that's what
Nia was. Like we said, Nia lost to a Money in the Bank cash in, and she, like you said, where's the rematch clause that we all claim to have?
Here's the thing. Now, this is behind the scenes that I happen to know about. Is apparently Nia Jax is in the doghouse because they were pissed off at that tweet that she made about Alexa Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
So Alexa Bliss, she took a picture of her tattoo that says "I am enough," and then Nia Jax said something about it, like "Hey, fuck you, you're an idiot" or some shit. I don't know. I'm not entirely. I'll find a graphic and I'll put it up. I'm not entirely sure what she said, but she did say something negative about that because apparently her and Alexa Bliss do not get along behind the scenes.
Well, I thought they did get along behind the scenes. Maybe something happened.
No, yeah, she said some shit about her.
Last I saw that or had read that they do get along. They were like besties on the road.
No, I read somewhere that she doesn't get along with her, and she talks shit about that tattoo, and so now that pissed off, everybody backstage, and we're like, you know what? That's it. You're losing your push, and she lost the title, and she's not even in the fucking.
We'll see.
Yeah, so that's just something I read somewhere.
Oh, but going back to SummerSlam real quick, I'll say once again, Ronda Rousey would be my prediction.
Of course.
For that one.
Yeah. So wait, we who do we predict for AJ Styles and Samoa Joe?
Oh, I said I can't really make an official prediction. I'm gonna go with I'll make it pretty. Let's see. I'll go with Samoa Joe. I'm gonna go with Samoa Joe in the WWE title, but I'll give AJ. That kind of is more of a 50-50 for me because I could go. I could see it happening either way. It's one of those win-wins. It really doesn't matter. I'm gonna go with Joe because I want to see Joe win. So I'll pick Joe.
We both want him to win, but I don't think Joe's winning. I think
I'm gonna go with Joe. I'll take Joe as my prediction.
I think AJ Styles is gonna never lose that title.
He just retires champ.
Unless The Rock shows up to take it from him, like he always does. And then we got some Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Who did you pick?
I guess I'm going to go with Roman, but I'm also kind of predicting a Money in the Bank cash-in at SummerSlam or the Monday Night Raw.
So Roman's definitely going to win the match.
Yeah.
He's going to lose.
Bottom line is, the prediction I'll make on it officially is the title comes off Brock Lesnar before the end of the week. All right. I don't want to say SummerSlam because I know better that they could try to trick us, and I know that Brock is advertised for the Raw after SummerSlam, so there's a potential he shows up with that belt on the Raw and gets cashed in on Raw. I was thinking about that, but like I said, I'm going to predict that the title is off of Brock Lesnar by the end of Monday Night Raw, the day after SummerSlam. So I know that's a little bit of a bootleg prediction, but that's my prediction.
And you picked Ronda Rousey to be Alexa Bliss, right?
Yes.
So now the next match we're going to stick with women's. SmackDown Women's Championship, Carmella versus Becky Lynch.
This is
even real? That's a real match.
I don't know. Again, Asuka is now not on the card, but we'll get to that. But Carmella, I'm gonna just go with Carmella winning. That's a
really.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Carmella because I kind of look at it as a bit of a throwaway match. I think it's like getting it out of the way because I think Charlotte's still not ready to go. I believe that was supposed to be Charlotte's spot. It might have been Charlotte versus Carmella. That's just me from what I think. There's no facts to back that up, but I think it was supposed to be Charlotte and Carmella. Charlotte might not be ready for SummerSlam, so she's got to wait an extra month. This is just a throwaway match, in my opinion. I like Becky, and again, I'm not shitting on the people. I like Becky Lynch. I think she's great. I think Carmella's a little less than Becky, but Carmella's okay. I'm going to go with Carmella retaining because I don't see that this match meaning anything.
Well, I guess it kind of makes sense because at a storyline standpoint, Becky Lynch has been booked very strong. She's been crushing everyone. And she beat Carmella. She made her tap out. So I guess it would make sense that she would lose.
Yeah. That's what they do. Build you up like a mountain and then chop you like
And also James Ellsworth was fired, so he's unable to interfere, but maybe he will interfere.
Right.
Maybe he comes out of the crowd and he's like, oh, I'm here again.
Exactly.
Oh, you can't get rid of me. I'm in control.
Exactly. But I'll go with Carmella officially on the prediction for that one.
So the next, and I think this is the final official match that's been, so it's an Intercontinental Championship, Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins.
Talk about rematches again. Yet another rematch. Yeah. Now, you just had an Iron Man match with these two, and now you're going to give us another match. Now, I had read a rumor that they're going to change it to a multi-person match of some sort and people to it. We still have time. We're about 2 weeks away from SummerSlam, maybe even 3 weeks away from SummerSlam at this point. So, granted, none of these are official, but it is what's announced so far is an Intercontinental title match. And again, I can't shit on either one. Dolph Ziggler is awesome in his own way. Seth Rollins is probably one of the top 5 wrestlers in the world right now, I think, in my opinion. Yeah. But, I'm not saying the match will be bad or anything like that. It's just, enough with the rematches. SummerSlam is supposed to be like your second WrestleMania. This is supposed to be the blow-off to feuds, the big main event matches. I do not look at Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler as a big-time main event match, especially when it's the third or fourth singles match they're having within a month.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little ridiculous to me. I think it would be better off throw Finn Balor and Drew McIntyre into the mix, make it a four-way, because yet again, Finn Balor, Drew McIntyre so far not booked on SummerSlam, and even though Drew and Dolph are a team right now, I think it could add to an interesting dynamic. You put them in a fatal four-way where only one person wins, and we've seen it happen before. There'll be a little dissension amongst them, and maybe cost the other one the match somehow. Blah blah blah. Doesn't mean they have to split up, but at least it adds to something to the match. It adds a dynamic to the match. I think it'd make it more interesting than it is right now. At least that's my opinion again. But as far as prediction goes on what we know and what we have in front of us, I'll go with Seth Rollins beating Dolph one-on-one for the Intercontinental title.
Here's the thing. I kind of want Dolph Ziggler to win because I don't want Seth Rollins to have the Intercontinental title anymore. I want him to jump. Yeah, I want him to advance to the title run now, and the only way to do that is if he loses that match. And I think Drew McIntyre is probably obviously going to do something to ensure that happens.
I agree with you. I agree with you with that. I'll like I said, because we're dealing with what we have in front of us, I'll go with Seth beating Dolph one-on-one. If it turns into a multi-man match or there are other people in the match, then I'll go back to Dolph winning. Yeah. But if it stays one-on-one, I'm going to go with Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Yeah, but I kind of don't.
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you, though. I agree.
So the last one, it's booked, but we don't know who their challengers are going to be. You got the Bludgeon Brothers Tag Team Championship versus to be determined, and that's because there's a tag team tournament.
Right. We have the Usos versus the Bar on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then the winner of that faces the New Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the winner of that match gets the tag team touchdown. I'm going to go with the Bar.
That's who I was going to say.
I'm going to go with Sheamus and Cesaro simply based on the fact that they've been missing and that they haven't been around and they haven't been on TV. I think we spoke about it on the last podcast.
They lost it too. Yeah. Didn't they lose it to the Bludgeon Brothers?
No. They lost. They came from Raw. They haven't even done anything since coming from Raw in the draft. Right. Yeah, they were on Raw. They lost their belts to
what was the WrestleMania match?
Bray, I think.
That's where they won it, right?
Oh,
I can't remember.
The Bludgeons?
Yeah.
No, the Bludgeons won it from. They won it from the Usos. I want to say.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it was, and it was fucking stupid too. I remember that.
But Sheamus and Cesaro, I'm going to go with them, even though that's technically, I guess, heel team versus heel team. But we've already seen the New Day versus the Bludgeons. We've already seen the Usos versus the Bludgeons. So I got to go with the Bar.
Yeah,
taking that, and then as far as winning the tag title match, I'm not really sure just yet. I maybe I'll go with the Bar the whole way. I think I'll just go with the Bar going all the way.
I agree
because Cesaro needs to be on TV because he's awesome.
He's amazing.
Get him on TV, and if that means giving him tag belts, I don't care. Get him on TV.
You know what? Every time he gets in the ring, he does something. Even awesome. When he fucks up, like when he hit his teeth out of his mouth and he continued the match, and he was like, "Look at my teeth." And we're like, "That's insane." And he just was that much better.
Shoved his teeth into his head.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh fuck! All right,
but he's awesome. So get him on TV. I don't care what it takes, and let him win everything.
So before I go over to our list, I do want to say because I'm on CBS, which is weird, WWE CBS, where they do their little predictions as well, which is actually a pretty cool website. And these are all projected matches based on current storylines. Right. None have been officially announced at this time,
but are most likely.
Yeah. So these are like prediction matches that they think are going to happen. John Cena versus Undertaker. Cena and Taker have not appeared on WWE TV since the Greatest Royal Rumble, and there is some unfinished business on Cena's end after the quick loss he suffered at WrestleMania 34.
Yeah, if that match is to happen, first of all, I'm against the whole taking up a spot for something totally useless. John Cena and Taker, they're legends. I find this whole thing to be stupid and useless, in my opinion. But whatever. I know that hurts. I know that stings.
Not a very popular
I know, but
belief.
I look at it like they're taking up a spot. I would almost rather see, Undertaker versus new guy, fill in name here, or John Cena versus a new guy, rather than have the two old guys fighting each other where it doesn't matter who wins or loses because it doesn't do anything for anybody.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I have with it. Put Undertaker in there with, I'm just going to throw a name out, Kevin Owens. I'm not saying that's a dream match by any means, but just using Kevin Owens as an example. Show me Kevin Owens versus Undertaker. I've never seen that match. It's something interesting. I don't care who wins that either because it's new and it's interesting, Yeah. John Cena and Undertaker is not new or interesting. They're two older guys. It doesn't help the company. It doesn't help the people. It doesn't help anybody anywhere with anything. I
don't see that being a draw. I don't know, man. Undertaker's popular. People are going to probably want to see him.
Yeah, but what's going to end up happening? Here's a prediction, since that's what we're talking about. Yeah. I would predict John Cena winning in clean and quick fashion, similar to the way Undertaker beat him at WrestleMania.
And that'll set up another.
And then they'll have a third match at WrestleMania. Yet take
we'll settle this in your yard
in a Hell in a Cell.
Oh God!
I'm telling you. John Cena beats Undertaker at SummerSlam. John Cena versus Undertaker at Hell in a Cell WrestleMania next year. Boom. Book it.
Yeah, it's happening. God, Jesus, man, we hit it out of the park with
All
that.
right, what else we got rumored?
Well, this one's not officially in the, but we know it's going to be Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. It would not be a surprise to see this year's long feud heat up in a major way at the path.
That's a long time coming, and they're finally like in storyline on SmackDown mixing up. I would go ahead and say that's almost certainly going to happen at SummerSlam.
On the last podcast, we said literally the only reason why this is happening is because Kane got injured.
Yeah.
We were so sure that, Kane got legitimately injured, and they were probably going to do a storyline with them at SummerSlam.
Right.
Holy shit.
Because Team Hell No, came and went so fast that something got messed up.
Yeah.
You could tell. But so Daniel Bryan, The Miz, I'm excited for it. It's a long time coming. It's got some real heat, which is missing in wrestling nowadays.
Yeah.
As far as prediction goes, that's one of those weird matches where, again, it doesn't necessarily matter who wins because it's probably going to go further than SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So WWE being what they are, I wouldn't be surprised if Miz gets a win here. I'm going to go with Miz because I think
they're trying to position him.
I think that A, they're positioning him, and B, there's potential for the Daniel Bryan Miz story to continue. So Daniel Bryan being the good guy doesn't have to win the first match.
No.
Let him lose the first one, and he has to chase the Miz some more because Miz is great at being this heel. And also, Miz and Mrs. just started on his new show.
Oh, yeah, they're going
to push that. So, you got to put Miz in a prime spot. I'm going to go with Miz beating Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam.
And not only that, if the Miz does beat him, right, it's going to elevate Miz, but it doesn't necessarily hurt Daniel Bryan.
Right.
Everyone
You can't hurt Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's in a spot where he can't be hurt unless he was literally buried alive in a match.
So, and then also the Miz can use that momentum. He can say, I beat Daniel Bryan, and and that just to hear him say that.
Well, just to hear him come out and say, "I told you so," that's what he's great at. That's what Miz is great at.
Daniel Bryan will be like, "You little son of a bitch."
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miz on a prediction for that rumored match.
And then there is. We don't know what's going on with Sasha Banks and Bayley. The storyline has only gotten more convoluted the longer it has gone down.
I think that's just a matter of, you have this Evolution pay-per-view coming up. You have the rumor of the 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen. So they've been flirting with the idea of this Bayley-Sasha Banks story for a long time, and I don't think they're ready to pull the plug on it. So I'm going to suspect they're not going to be fighting each other at SummerSlam yet. I don't think.
Say, who gives a shit at this point,
yeah,
dude?
I think they're going to continue to just be, whatever they are, best friends, lesbian lovers, nobody knows. But
they hate each other. It's a love-hate fucking.
Let them just keep doing that, and that's going to last through Evolution pay-per-view. If there's going to be a turn, I suspect it happens at Evolution.
There's been turns though. Like Bayley lost her shit and violently beat the crap out of Sasha Banks. Like it was violent.
Yeah.
And then they go to anger management the next week and they're like, "Oh, I guess we're mad at each other." I'm like, "What? You were violently and viciously beaten by this woman who's supposedly a good person, and now all of a sudden they're hugging each other and loving each other." I'm like, I don't care.
It's a whole bunch of who knows who cares. But yeah, I'm gonna say the match isn't gonna happen at SummerSlam though. So we'll see.
Then you got fucking Stephanie McMahon going, "Oh, I love women." Fuck out of here.
So that's all we got as far as rumored has it.
Right? There's two more.
Okay, what else?
The United States Championship with Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy and possibly versus Randy Orton.
I'm all for that. That's a fine match.
Randy Orton is on fire right now. God damn. Holy
For those
crap.
who didn't see it, Randy Orton put his finger through Jeff Hardy's ear gauge and was pulling on it, and it was awesome.
And then
one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
He's like on the mic. He's like, "Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about anything right now. I'm just going to get the crazy thing." He's like, "What? The most dangerous 3 letters are R-K." And then the fans went, "Oh," and he's dropped the mic. He's like, "I'm not going to fucking talk with you bitches."
Randy Orton is obviously way better as a heel, although the RKO is a super cool good guy move, I'll say, because it gets a pop no matter what. But Randy Orton's obviously way better as a heel, I feel like. It's just weird timing because I feel like the SmackDown side of things, the bad guys are like ridiculous. They have so many bad guys on SmackDown and not enough good guys. You got like Daniel Bryan and Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles.
Like Nakamura almost looks like a good guy.
Right. You got Daniel Bryan, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles as top 3 tier, and then you got like Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, The Miz, Nakamura, Almas, who's getting pushed now.
Yeah.
That's like 5 versus 3 right there. Off the top of my head. But Randy Orton, if that match happens, I'm okay with that. I'll take a triple threat U.S. title match with Nakamura, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, and I'm going to stick with Nakamura holding the belt. I think he holds the U.S. belt for a little while.
Ooh, you think so, huh? I don't know, man. Randy Orton came in pretty hot.
He is pretty.
I'm
pretty
expecting him to win that match. He's probably going to RKO everybody.
Yeah.
He might even go into the crowd and start RKOing people in the crowd.
I would be surprised.
Like I haven't seen stuff like that in a while. Where like just fucking come in and just create havoc like that. Even Nakamura was like, "Oh shit, I just punched people in the balls," but you like stuck your finger in that guy's ear. What the hell's wrong with you? So then, last but not least, Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre.
Oh right. Okay.
There has been some tension. Obvious when was obvious when McIntyre helped cost Rollins an Intercontinental title win during his Iron Man match against Dolph Ziggler at Extreme Rules. That continued in a tag team match on Raw. So why is Balor here instead of Rollins? Well, because there's nothing else for either of these guys to do right now.
I agree with that, except like I said earlier, I would suggest that it'd be better suited to throw those two into and make it a 4-way for the Intercontinental title. Now, if they go 1-on-1, I'm not against it either. I'll take Drew. The problem with it is that you're giving us that for free on Monday Night Raw, though. Like that's as far as the SummerSlam card goes, don't make me feel like I'm just watching Monday Night Raw. And I kind of get that feeling with the Drew McIntyre Finn Balor match, but I'm okay with both those guys. I don't hate either one. I like both of them. If I'm gonna predict a 1-on-1, I'll go with Drew McIntyre because I think he's getting a bit of a push. But
so this is interesting.
But I also kind of feel like we should throw them into the Intercontinental match.
So we had our own list, right? We have a couple other guys on this list that this does not have. So I might as well. But this has a couple other guys that we don't have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read our list.
A little bit? Okay.
Yeah. So we made a list of WWE superstars who are absent from SummerSlam at the time being. They may still get booked. So if you guys see this video later on, understand they're not booked right now.
They're not booked right now, nor do they seem to have any direction at the moment.
Let it be known there are still 2 weeks left. There's only 2 weeks. Right. There's only 2 weeks left to
get all these guys booked into a storyline within 2 weeks is going to be pretty hard.
And it's going to be fucking pointless.
Right.
We're just going to be, oh, okay, cool. That you literally just put this together now, and that's how we're going to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to, in no particular order, but this first one fucking pisses me off. Asuka is not booked in SummerSlam for anything. What?
Yeah. Again, you could have thrown her in a.
She literally got cheated out of that match.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's silly to me to not have. Asuka is so huge and popular and one of the top people in the company right now. How you don't have her booked into a prime spot at SummerSlam is crazy to me.
Not even have a storyline.
Right. And again, I don't want to. I'm not here to just shit on people, but if you're going to compare Carmella versus Becky Lynch to Asuka versus anybody,
James Ellsworth.
Come on, that title should have been taken off Carmella with Asuka, and Asuka should be facing Becky Lynch, and that would all of a sudden you have now a high caliber. Because I'll tell you right now. Again, no disrespect to the two women, but Carmella and Becky Lynch, there's your bathroom break. You know what I mean? It goes back to that woman's idea of that's where I'm going to take a break during the show when I'm sitting there for 6 hours. You know what I mean? But you put Asuka versus Becky Lynch, I'm not going anywhere for Asuka versus Becky Lynch. I'm going to watch that match the whole time. So it just goes to show you, and I know that comes off really, I don't know, mean or disrespectful. It's no disrespect. It's just a matter of how they're being positioned, how they're being placed. Why do I give a shit about Carmella versus Becky Lynch? I don't. And now you ask me, why do I give a shit about Asuka versus Becky Lynch? Because Asuka is a beast. Because she was undefeated for 2 years. Because she got cheated out of her belt. Because she has a good match with almost anyone you put her in there with. Same could be said for Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is a great athlete, even though she's been on the back burner up until much recently. So yeah, Asuka not being on the card is just crazy to me. I don't understand how you leave her off SummerSlam.
Insanity, somebody say. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we got Elias.
I mean, who?
His new album just came out, guys.
Yeah.
He's got a new album out. We got to watch it.
I talk about the most underappreciated popular guy, I feel like, in the whole WWE at the moment. This guy, you could treat him as a bad guy, which is fine. He gets the biggest cheers and the biggest reactions, I feel like, once the lights go out, his guitar strums, and he's, most importantly, entertaining.
And he's cute.
He's cute. He is never not entertaining. That's another thing. He's never not. Now, the funny thing about a guy like Elias, that's one guy who, even if he's not booked, he could do his little guitar playing and be part of the show. So we'll give WWE a little bit of the benefit down on that. He doesn't necessarily need to be booked into a match. He could just show up playing his guitar, and it would be entertaining no matter what. But what we're discussing here is no direction, lack of storyline, 2 weeks away from your second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Why are you not on the card? Why is he missing?
Meanwhile,
why is Elias not factored in?
And meanwhile, his album is going double platinum right now.
Yeah.
You're not taking advantage of that double platinum album. Unbelievable, dude.
Yeah.
Have you heard it, man? Have you heard his music?
No, I didn't even listen to the whole thing. I just know it's out there.
It's worth listening to.
Yeah, I want it. I do want
my
it.
life.
Do you walk with Elias now?
I walk with Elias.
Nice.
I walk with Elias.
Sweet.
I'm playing that album was. You know what? I'll let you guys
check it out for yourself.
You guys check
Free
out
plugs all day here.
Check out his album and then comment below on this video to let us know what you guys thought of his album or what you think of our predictions if we suck. Yeah. But I'm going to continue down this list.
And let us know if you walk with Elias.
Yes, because I definitely will sit on his lap and let him serenade me with his music. But I digress. The next one, we already spoke about her, Nia Jax.
Right.
What? Where is she? Yeah. Why isn't she getting a title shot? Why isn't she getting a rematch?
Easily been added to a triple threat match in that match, but I don't know. That makes.
Well, I have my own speculation as to why.
You say why.
I mean, I think she's being buried right now because they're not fucking happy with some of the things she said on social media.
Yeah, but she's lacking direction. Again, this list that we formulated is just based off of like current guys or females that you see on TV every week that have matches that should be in a decent enough storyline or at least have some sort of direction, and they don't. So Nia Jax is.
It's just we're making an observation to the lack of these guys having a shot in SummerSlam at all.
You have Asuka and Nia Jax last month were in title matches, and this month are not even booked for the show with no direction.
Nothing.
Right.
Okay, so the next one, Bobby Lashley.
Right. Bobby Lashley just lost the qualifier to Roman Reigns. And now,
the Bobbies.
Yeah. And now Bobby Lashley has no direction because now where does he go from here now? You know, now he has no direction. He's got no storyline. He's got no feud. You know, could we throw him in a match with let's just say Elias? Sure, but as we said, this is your second biggest pay-per-view of the year. You're not supposed to just have randomness going on, you know. Yeah. And Lashley has no direction now. Another match yet he'd be suited to be thrown into the Roman match, making a triple threat, but now he lost, so I don't know how you get there, but. You know, and I don't know how many triple threat matches you want to have on one card, but still.
I think there's 2 weeks left. I mean, can you come out and say, hey, listen, I beat you fair and square, and you weaseled your way back into this match, and Brock Lesnar doesn't even want to face you. He wants to face me. He knows that he can beat you. He doesn't know that he can beat me, and blah, blah, blah. Right. You face me and, whatever.
Because, we said, there is 2 weeks still, so that could still happen, but...
He could say it, but you know what? Who fucking cares? Because you had a match with him. You had a long match, and it was a fucking fair win over you, so it's what are you doing? You just ruined this guy's momentum, and he was fucking doing great.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Lashley came into the WWE, came back to WWE. I don't think... how should I put this? I don't think he came in to a level where anybody took him seriously at first.
Yeah.
Then he started gaining some momentum, and I think he is getting his following back, and he's got fans behind him. And there was, me personally, I would have loved to have seen Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. I feel like that's a bit of a, I don't want to say dream match, maybe dream match a little strong, but it's definitely an interesting match. And they dropped the ball with it, and just to have him lose clean to Roman and leave Bobby Lashley floundering directionless 2 weeks before your second biggest pay-per-view. Yeah, that's a mistake and a problem.
So there was that that little squabble he had where the entire roster had to come out and break them apart, him and Roman Reigns. Where I was like, oh, they're trying too hard. But then in the match at Extreme Rules, I was like, it wasn't that bad.
No, pretty good. Listen, like I always said, as much as we shit on Roman Reigns, I don't hate every match Roman's in. His wrestling isn't terrible as opposed to other people, but. You know, the match was solid. Him and Lashley.
I'm talking about Bobby Lashley because
Lashley too.
He actually made me kind of go. I mean, because just seeing Bobby Lashley in the ring with Roman Reigns, I fucking hate Roman Reigns, but to see him kind of making me invest a little. Usually I'm on my phone, I don't give a shit, but I'm watching it and I'm like, it actually looks kind of cool with Bobby Lashley in there. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's obviously
got the look.
Amazing athlete, a huge guy. And like we said,
his athleticism
is it's awesome. Why is he directionless 2 weeks before your major show?
Why the fuck did you bring him in there to beat Roman Reigns to now, we take it back?
Yeah.
It just looks so bad. Forget that happened. He lost, and now Roman is the guy. Ugh. So, I don't know, man. Bobby Lashley, people are really hating on him, but he's starting to grow on me. He really, it's weird because I fucking hated Bobby Lashley.
Just keep him
come
off.
out and you're like, ooh,
Yeah, I was gonna say, just keep him off the microphone. That's all. Keep him off the microphone. His wrestling is good, and he looks awesome. His
give him a manager.
Awesome.
Paul Heyman.
Yeah, give him.
You know what they should have done? They should have had Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, and then Paul Heyman turns heel against Brock Lesnar.
Definitely.
Now Bobby Lashley wins the title. Everyone now fucking hates Bobby Lashley, but now you got Paul Heyman on his side going, I had to get rid of that dead weight because he's getting old.
Right.
I had to go with this guy instead. He's the future. Then I'd have been like, all right, I'm in.
Hell yeah. I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm all in. So there's that with Bobby Lashley. But instead, we're not having that conversation. We're having a conversation of what the hell's going on with him. Right. So there you go. That's WWE.
Who else we got that's missing in action?
Rusev
Day. Now another guy who just last pay-per-view had a WWE title match that also came out of nowhere, but regardless, he had the title match, and now
decent match,
now 1 month later is left totally directionless and not on the card so far, 2 weeks before SummerSlam. It goes into like, what are you booking? Like, what is going on in the WWE? Bad booking. Like, Rusev seems to have this little story going with Aiden English. I don't know why we're messing with the whole Rusev Day thing. Like, WWE has this problem with that. Like, I don't think anybody in the world is like craving to see a Rusev versus Aiden English match. Okay,
I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's craving that. So where is that storyline going? Why is it even happening? Why did we tinker with something that went over organically? This is the problem with WWE. I think we might have touched on it at the last podcast. You take something that happened naturally, which was Rusev Day. Rusev Day was mentioned just in a backstage throwaway segment with the New Day. He just commented, "Oh, it's not New Day, it's Rusev Day." And it took off. It's just like, it reminds me of Austin 316. It came out of nowhere, and it took off, and it's on a T-shirt, and everybody loves it. WWE didn't create it. So, fuck that. That's their attitude. Like, they take Rusev, who all of a sudden could have been a huge good guy because he was getting that much popularity, and you force-feed us the fact that he's a foreigner, and you force-feed us the fact that he has to be a bad guy, and you give us him versus AJ Styles in an effort to get us to boo him again. Yeah. I don't think it worked. Both men got cheered. And so now a week later, instead, you say, okay, well, let's break up this little faction that's getting cheered. I'm not a huge fan.
That makes perfect sense.
I'm not a fan of Aiden English by any means, but I do find him entertaining with Rusev Day, and I think he's part of the Rusev Day equation. You separate them, Aiden English goes nowhere, and Rusev flounders. You keep the whole package together, it soars. Yeah. They don't want it to soar, it seems. Yeah. They want to chop the legs out, separate them.
They tried it before. They tried to go with him and Lana when they're like, oh, we can't have him and Lana. Like, they're getting too much buzz. So Lana's going to be banging now.
I think it was Dolph,
Ziggler. And then he'll start banging this other girl. And I'm like, that didn't work.
And Rusev, they got in trouble for that because then Rusev, a lot of posted online that they were engaged. And it was like, and they were like, screw the whole storyline thing, and I agree with them. I'm glad they did that because they were right, because we're not stupid fans anymore. We are backstage. We know more than we should. Don't get me wrong. We know Rusev and Lana are together, so why are you going to pretend like we're doing a storyline when they're not,
That might have put him in the doghouse a little bit.
It did at the time. But, that was a while ago now. We're over that.
Why does shit like that put people in the doghouse and not the fact that they can go in the ring, perform well, get on the mic, get a draw? Yeah. Instead, you didn't listen to me because I don't like you two are together.
There are some things that we'll never understand, like Rusev Day. Like, why can't Rusev Day just be what it is then? Let it be popular. Instead, you trying your best to make us boo Rusev every chance they get.
It's because of I think, like, people say that Vince McMahon has this, like, vision of a certain look that a wrestler has to have. Superstar. Superstar has to have. And he doesn't look the part that Vince McMahon wants to. He wants to see guys that are chiseled and monstrous.
To your point, though, he also has the look and the feel the opposite way, like a Rusev. He looks at Rusev as the foreign bad guy. Yeah. And that's all he can pigeonhole him as. Yeah. That's why a guy like Rusev is always going to have this problem in the WWE. He can't get past that glass ceiling because he's just supposed to be the foreign mid-card bad guy.
We're not in that. We're not in
that world anymore, right? And like I said, all right, if that was your vision, fine. When the Rusev Day came around and you were just being fed gold.
No, you're the Iron Sheik, dude.
Like, here you go. Here's Rusev Day. Fans love it. Make a T-shirt. Make him a good guy. No, he's the Iron Sheik. That's what he is. Yeah. That's how Vince looks at these things.
Oh my God,
it's annoying.
And we don't even have him in SummerSlam.
Right. Like I said, you gave him a title match last month where you tried to make him a bad guy. It did not work. And now 2 weeks before SummerSlam, he's got he's a little different. He does have direction. It looks like he's going to feud with Aiden English, but That's not a SummerSlam match as far as I'm concerned. And like we said, as far as what's booked 2 weeks before the event, Rusev nowhere to be found at the moment.
You know what I just thought of, by the way? This makes it a little more interesting, right? We're talking about this. We are from New York, right? Mm-hmm. And SummerSlam's they're going to have it here
in New York.
And this is what we want to see. Right. We want to see these guys. We don't want to see what you're fucking giving us, and you're not giving it to us.
I go to wrestling events frequently, and I'm telling you right now, one of the more popular chants outside the arena before the show even starts, there's Rusev Day chants outside.
Rusev Day chants.
There's the 10 count, which we didn't put him down on the list, but the 10s for Ty Dillinger. Yeah.
Oh, I read something somewhere of why they don't like Ty Dillinger. Vince McMahon finds the 10 count, the 10 chant. He thinks that's annoying.
Right.
So he doesn't want that anymore.
Of course, yeah.
What a fucking idiot, dude. Oh, I'm annoyed that the fans are happy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Because they chant 10,
and when I read that, I was like, of course, dude, this piece of shit.
Yeah, but again, they have this problem with it not being their baby. Like, not when Vince doesn't invent it, it doesn't exist. That's Vince's thing, But yeah, Rusev, that's a popular chant. The 10 count.
This one really annoyed you, huh?
Yeah,
the Rusev one, huh?
Bothers me, man. Bothers me.
Dude, he got really passionate about this.
Go ahead, give me someone else. Go.
No, I really enjoyed hearing that because you were like, "Oh God, I got so much to say."
Well, it's true. It's true, man. It really is true. And like you said, we are New Yorkers, and I'm telling you, I've been near 20,000 New Yorkers for a wrestling event, and this is what people are doing. I'm telling you.
He's gonna stab somebody. Anyways, all right. So the next one, obviously, we're very passionate fans. The next one is Andrade Cien Almas.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's
still
not
on the card.
Yeah. He's still, in my opinion, he's not at the next level just yet. So to say that he's missing from SummerSlam might be a bit of an overstatement. However, he is being pushed very heavily on SmackDown right now. He did beat Rusev last week. He beat Sin Cara at the pre-show, the last show. And he went one-on-one with AJ, which was a great match, which is what they're saying supposedly is what gave him the.
So he had the match against AJ Styles, and because it was so amazing. It impressed everybody backstage, so now they're like, "Oh shit, dude, he's good. Let's push him."
Yeah, he's really good. The only criticism, I guess, that you could say is he's a little cruiserweight style esque, so he's a little small, but at the same time, he's good. He's definitely really good.
And you know what? When he had that match against Rusev, I was like, "Ooh, this is interesting. Yeah, this is an interesting.
Yeah, that was a hell of an interesting match. That's what we want to see more of, WWE. Don't you understand? Put two different guys in the ring. Give us something new. Watching Almas versus AJ and then Almas versus Rusev, it's almost like WWE fell for their own trick because you say, the rumor has it he had this match and now all of a sudden they're all up his ass. They want to push him. It's not necessarily, I'm not trying to take away from Almas, but I don't think it's necessarily what Almas did. It's just the fact that we saw something new. Yeah. And everybody got excited about it.
Well,
and I feel like the WWE is the same way. Like they saw something new, because we've never seen Almas versus AJ. We've never seen Almas versus Rusev, and now we've seen them, and now people all of a sudden are like, "Oh, he's awesome." I think
everybody always liked him.
I think it's like an optical illusion, sort of. It's
for WWE,
right? For WWE, because it's just more like we haven't seen it yet, so now you get excited for it, and it makes him almost better than he really is to a degree. But that being said, again, you're pushing a young guy. He's up and coming. People are getting interested. Nowhere booked for SummerSlam.
Not even close. Yeah.
Not even close to SummerSlam.
No storyline. No nothing.
Just having aimless matches right now.
Yeah. And what's the name of the girl that's with him?
Selena Vega.
She's that's my wife.
She's gorgeous.
She's amazing.
She's pocket size. Carry her around.
Yeah. Like this. All right. So now I'm just gonna throw names out real quick because this is big, man. This is huge. Bobby Roode, Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy, the B Team.
Right.
Like what is going on?
I'm sure within the 2 weeks, the B Team and a tag title match will get thrown in somewhere against who I have no idea. They keep showing the Revival on Raw, watching them.
Not even,
Revival too. Maybe there's going to be a Matt and Bray and the Revival and the B Team. I'm gonna assume the tag belts is going to get straightened out within the 2 weeks. That's the one I'm very confident will get booked. Will be the tag titles mixed in with probably Matt and Bray. But again, what we're talking about is directionless. We are 2 weeks away from SummerSlam, and everybody you just mentioned directionless. I want to point out Bobby Roode, who you mentioned. Bobby Roode, talk about a guy who came in with steam. He's got the glorious. Everybody loves him. He was on fire. And it's like, I don't know if it's time for the heel turn yet or what, but something needs to go on Bobby Roode to get him off the opening card and off that level. This feud with Mojo Rawley, I don't know.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm talking about. It's like who in their right mind was sitting there one day and said, you know what dream match I want to see? Bobby Roode versus Mojo Rawley. I can't wait.
Mojo Rawley? He just comes out like, I'm here.
Let's book that at SummerSlam. Like, come on, guys. Like, come on.
Oh, man, I love it.
Bobby
Good
Roode
stuff.
totally directionless, except maybe about to job to Mojo Rawley, which is not a direction, except down.
Yeah, he's going down. Now this actually has a couple of other people that we didn't mention. The Usos might not be.
They're in that tag.
They're in that tag team, but they're not going to win.
Right.
And
like we said, if the Bar wins, which is what my prediction was,
now you got
then that leaves
Day.
the New Day and the Usos without a match.
And it also says Sanity.
And Sanity without a match.
Yeah, like just fucking like. What are you guys?
Give me
no, but they want to have John Cena versus Undertaker. We haven't even announced it yet.
Yeah.
We got 2 weeks left, but we're going to announce it now.
I say give me Sanity versus New Day in a rematch, 3-on-3, like from Extreme Rules, because since that was on the pre-show in a tables match on Extreme Rules, I don't know why it was the pre-show. It was a good enough match. I'll take a 6-man tag, at least throw them at something. That doesn't help the Usos, but give me New Day. I mean, listen, you got 2 stables of 3 men. Let's use them, right? Like let's put them in a match together. Let's let them have a feud, not just a one-off random ass table match, because that was as random as you could possibly be, was to have them 2 teams in a table match out of nowhere. So
and then we got Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy.
Well, like I said, I think they'll be tied into B team before the 2 weeks are up.
Again, another rematch.
And yet another rematch.
So.
Yes.
All right, so that's that was it for that was our prediction so far for SummerSlam. Obviously, we still got 2 more weeks to go, and every week I'm going to try to get over here so we can continue to do more predictions, and as we get closer to SummerSlam, and then go over any buzzworthy news to announce.
Sure.
But yeah, man, it's like I said, like SummerSlam is always gonna be there, and am I gonna watch it? Probably, but man, do I really not care about a lot of the things going on in SummerSlam. It's like if you were having, because for me SummerSlam is just as strong as WrestleMania.
Right. It's supposed to be, like I said, it's supposed to be at the very least the second biggest show of the year for them.
And there's just nothing going on. I read the beginning of this program, we talk more about New Japan and R.O.H.
And the excitement
surrounding
that, and they don't even have matches booked.
They don't even have fucking matches booked, but we're like so excited because we know they're going to deliver.
Right.
I am not even sure that the Samoa Joe AJ Styles is going to deliver. I mean, you're pretty.
Well, I disagree with that one, yes, but I know what you're trying to say. Like, you look at the SummerSlam card, you look at potentially 12 spots that are going to happen on the show, 12 matches. There's 4.
The only
that
thing
are good, I don't know. Even though I'm guessing with 4.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to have Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss have a good match, because if she doesn't destroy Alexa Bliss, then I'm going to be like, what the hell's going on?
I won't speculate on anything bad, only because Ronda's delivered, in my opinion, the 3 times.
Well, no, I expect her to destroy her. I don't want to see any offense on her.
She's delivered, so I can't, no matter how they book that, as long as Ronda keeps trucking along and doing what she's doing, so far so good at Ronda. I have no real complaints, especially since she's brand new still. I can't hate on anything she's doing at the moment.
And I'm looking forward to seeing that debacle, because it's not even, I don't care about the match. I don't give a shit about the title anymore.
Oh, Brock and Roman.
But when Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns get into that ring, I can't wait to see how the fans react to that. Man.
How sick is it?
God, it's going to be awesome.
How sick is it that you're about to watch the second biggest pay-per-view of the year, and what you want to see out of the main event is how the fans are going to react.
I can't wait to see.
Nothing to do with Brock, Roman, who wins, where, nobody cares. What we care about is how the fans are going to shit on that match.
It's our time, finally. Finally, the New Yorkers are like, all right, you little sons of bitches, you wanted to bring that here? We got
That's why I'm telling you. That's why I made the prediction that Braun has got to be cashing in at SummerSlam or Raw, because I can't imagine they're leaving New York with that taste in their mouth. You know what I'm saying? New York is going to hate when Roman wins. But just to play devil's advocate, WWE does care about even if it's a bad reaction. So I could see Roman winning, getting booed out of the building. I could see him opening up Monday Night Raw, getting booed out of the building with the championship. And then Brock comes out, destroys Roman, and then whoever it is, whether it's Kevin Owens or Braun, comes out and cashes in Money in the Bank. That's why I said I'm predicting by the end of Raw that there's a title change. Mm-hmm. I can't really say who's winning between Brock and Roman just yet, because whoever has that briefcase is champion by the end of Monday Night Raw. That's my prediction.
What I'm saying is it's going to be a spectacle to watch that.
Yeah.
To see Roman getting booed.
Yeah.
And Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, he's already saying, I don't want this, because I know what's coming. And I don't think Brock likes hearing those fucking boos.
Brock used to get cheered, but he's getting booed now for 2 reasons. 1, because the fans, are sick of the belt not being around. And 2, because we know he's leaving. We know he's going back to UFC, so now nobody cares. And it's not even a booing him on hatred. It's just a booing him because nobody cares.
Nobody gives a shit.
Right.
Well, that's our show. This has been Joe DellaMonica, and I am Brian, your host. Brian Castillo. This has been the Free Bridge Podcast Wrestling Edition, where we discuss all things wrestling. And I do want to bring some light on this guy's collection here. I mean, you've got a lot of figurines and
VHS tapes.
VHS tapes.
I'm an old man.
This guy is just a full-blown wrestling fan. Like, and that's why I have him on the show, because he brings that level of expertise to this particular topic. And honestly, it's a lot of fun. I can't like wait till next week to continue doing this again.
Yeah, I had a great time. It's great.
So you'll see us every week.
I'll always be here.
Yeah, and that was our show. So you guys, you take care.
Once again, let me just throw a quick shout out to check out, be on the lookout, Uprise Wrestling coming at you sometime soon.
Yeah. Oh, and also make sure to comment below. I want to hear what you guys think. You know, all of the things that we've discussed. Are you excited about the Jericho cruise? Are you guys going? Do you guys care about the R.O.H and New Japan at MSG?
I would love for somebody to comment that they're going on that Jericho cruise. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, yeah, man. If you could, like, and maybe I can get somebody on the show to talk about it. Got All In. How you guys feel about that? And the, Evolution. That was a huge announcement. Do you agree with me on hating on Stephanie McMahon? Because I think she's a fucking idiot.
Or do you want to drop a seed in Stephanie?
Yeah, or do you want to drop a seed in Stephanie? And then also your predictions on SummerSlam matches and who we're going to win. Do you agree with our predictions? I mean, it's just a lot, Yeah. But I do want to hear from you guys. I want this community to grow.
Thanks again for having me. I had a great time. Appreciate it, and look forward to the next one.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care.